I'm going to be refreshing my craft room, and I'm going to do it without spending a dime. Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums, and this is my studio in my RV. I live, travel, and craft in my fifth wheel. Here you see the craft room closing up, getting ready to travel. So since I travel, I have a unique set of challenges to keep my craft room neat and organized. First of all, I have to clean it up all the time because when we travel, I can't leave everything out. And the second thing is I do have to put things so they don't move around. There's a great video on some things I wish I knew before I started traveling. If you click on that pop-up now, it'll bring you to that video after you're done watching this one. Now, it's great for me in my RV, but it's also perfect for a small space crafter. The reason I think it's great for everybody is there is a place for everything. You can tell at a glance when everything is in its place. It's easy to reach. You can almost do it with your eyes closed. And as well, you can easily tell at the end of a crafting session if you're missing something, like if your favorite pair of scissors isn't in there and then you throw out the trash. You might have thrown out your favorite pair of scissors, but this way you can see what you have and know if you need to look around for things. I'm going to do another video on making boxes for your drawers or just your crafting, but for today we're going to focus on the tool organizer. Okay, let me show you what I have in this one. This is my old one. It's just getting a little raggedy, so it's time to refresh it. So there's my bone folder, then my Cricut stylus I use for scoring. There is my blade. Now I have a new one, so it's a good reason to refresh this so my new one fits in. I have a pen, I just have that handy, a pencil, my eraser. Now that white thing is a piece of soundproofing. It's about a ½ inch thick, and I use it to put my little pins in for my glue top. That little box is where I put my magnets. I'm going to open it up. So it's just a little box that I put pieces of chipboard to divide them. Oh, let me tell you a little hack. So this clear little vial is what you get the fine point tips in if you use the Designer Dries Clear Glue from the Art Glitter Company. I usually keep it filled with water because it's waterproof. And then if my glue gets stuck in the tip while I'm crafting, I will just take that off and take this clean tip and put it on my glue bottle, put the old one in the water and let it sit. And then I can clean it whether it's later that day or the next day, but it's a great little hack. There's my eraser, my ruler, and that little pokey tool underneath. All right, let's talk about the things you'll need. You'll need chipboard or mat board, foam board, a sharp craft knife, scrapbook paper, glue, adhesive, pencil, and a ruler. Now, let me tell you that I don't know what size materials you need because it all is dependent on the size of your drawer. You first need to make sure that your drawer has enough clearance on the top that if you put something down, you'll be able to still shut it. Just lay something over the top of your drawer, put a couple of pens and scissors on it, and see whether or not the drawer will close. If it doesn't close with that on it, you won't be able to utilize this project. So in my case, my chipboard measures 12.5 by 12. You can see I have two pieces stacked together. You see the extra ½ inch on the right-hand side. That way it will sit on top of the drawer. Now underneath it, I have a piece of foam board that is 11.5 by 12. That way my chipboard will not slide side to side. It will slide back and forth. Let me show you what the underside looks like. So the underside, simply put, is the foam board attached to the bottom of the chipboard with about ½ inch on each side. So now that you know what the basis of the construction is, then let me show you how to do the top. So the very top piece is a piece of foam board that is just 12 by 12. And because I like things pretty, I am going to take some pink cardstock and put it around the edges. I just scored it at ½ inch at 3/4, and then it's 1.25 inches wide. So just the edges. You don't have to do this, but you know, I like it pretty. Now, like I said, I didn't spend any money on this. I always keep some foam board handy for projects, and plus I use it as sort of a sunscreen when the sun's coming in. It filters it out of the window. I'm going to cut this pink down just so it fits nice and neat on here. I'm using some scrapbook paper that I have in my stash, and I am going to glue that on the top. So it's sort of an orangey red with pink starburst on there. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that. I think, do I have to cut it down? I don't know. I'm going to use some double-sided tape. The reason being is I'm starting to run out of liquid adhesive, and I don't want to use it all. I am using some, what kind of glue is it? pH neutral glue for bookbinding. Somebody gave it to me, and I don't usually use it, but since I have it, I will use it. I mean, even I think Mod Podge would work, or whatever you want to use for a glue. I prefer to use a glue rather than a double-sided adhesive for the main part of it, just because it makes it easier to cut when we get to that part. All right, now after we get that top piece on, I'm going to lay my tools in the order that I feel like I'll use them. I always have my bone folder first because that's the thing I grab the most, and scissors, I just make it easy to grab. Just don't, make sure that they're not touching. I think that's the only rule. Just make sure they don't touch and they're not too close together. And then once I know where everything is, I'm going to take a pencil. I have to find one out of my drawer because I don't want to use my purple pencil, and go ahead and draw around all of those. Make sure your line is as close to the item as possible. But it's not going to be perfect. Well, here's a note. So see that little thing that just fell off, that little pointy tool? I forgot to put that on there, so I had to cut it after everything was done, everything put on, but it was okay. It worked. If you're not sure of the placement, I suggest putting everything down on the board that you've made and just live with it for a day or so and go ahead and craft, and you'll find whether or not it's easy. I could see this working for jewelry makers, clay artists, probably everything but painters. I mean, I guess you could still put your favorite paintbrushes in there, but your paint might not fit. All right, so I thought I was being smart and decided to use my straight edge to cut some of these things, but then I found out most of the things I was cutting were really curved. The number one most important thing you need to remember when you're doing this is make sure your blade is super, super sharp. Now, this was a brand new craft knife, and I could tell by the time I was done, it was starting to dull a little bit. So, note to self, make sure I get some more blades, but also make sure you have a good sharp blade on your craft knife. So anyhow, I'm cutting along those pencil lines. I know it's hard to see. Let me focus in a little bit so you can see me do one of them. There we go. That's a little better. Now, obviously, the straight areas, it's pretty easy. It's when you start doing the rounded ones, even the curved ones aren't bad, but like around these scissors, it just is a challenge. And you can see it's a little choppy, but by the time, I mean, it's going to work for the purposes that I need it to work. Do I wish it was nice and smooth and perfect? Of course. And I even thought I might take some paint and paint the inside of it. And then I decided, you know what? It's just to hold my tools. It's not that important. Now, after I've gone through the top part of it, I turn everything over, and you can see where some areas have, where the lines, where the cuts have connected, and you can see where they haven't. So it sort of helps when you're popping out that piece. See, I'm just trying to connect all the lines that weren't completely connected. It just makes it easier. And then gently start pulling them out. If you need to cut a little bit more, you'll find you need to cut a little bit more. It's no big deal. Of course, like I said, the square ones were easy. The rounded ones offered a little bit of a challenge. All right, well, anyhow, I am going to finish this up. And then what I need to do is glue this part down onto my surface. But before I do that, I'm going to cover the chipboard with some plain pink paper. Oh, here's a hint. I found over time that it's hard to get the bone folder out. So see that little curve I just took out? That just makes it a little easier to pull the bone folder out. This pink paper that I have actually is adhesive paper. I've had it in my stash. It's really not great for scrapbooking because it doesn't stick, but it's perfect for this purpose. So once I put it down, then I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive on the edges, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue, but not a heck of a lot, in just to keep everything down. I would say be fairly generous with the glue, but you don't want it so goopy that it comes out of underneath it. You'll see. You'll know. I'm using my precious art glitter glue here. But I want to go on each side, around each of those items. Then I center it on and just push it down. You can see it's a little choppy where those scissors were, but it's still going to do its job. And let me show you what it looks like when it's all done. I was looking for a more ooh and ah sound, but oh well. So anyhow, this is one of my favorite hacks I use in my small craft room. I mean, again, it works because I travel and things don't fall, they don't roll. But also, if I were not traveling, I think I would continue using this because I will always find where my things are. And in an upcoming video, I'll show you that little divided box, but I'm going to show you how to not run out to the dollar store, container store every time you need something to help organize your materials, but how you can make boxes out of stuff you have in your stash to help refresh your craft room. That's it for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things. And thank you so much. Have a fabulous day.